That short sequence from 1977's Close Encounters of the Third Kind is what legendary director Steven Spielberg himself identified as the single master image that sums up his entire film career. And if you were watching closely, you saw everything you needed to understand the secret behind how the most commercially successful director who has ever lived sells wonder.
Having an idea and actually being able to photograph it. That's been the magic potion for me ever since.
But before we try to catch Mr. Spielberg if we can, why not take a moment to subscribe to the Nerdstalgic channel? On June 25th, 1975, people packed into theaters to see the much-hyped film adaptation of Peter Benchley's popular horror suspense novel, Jaws. At the time, Steven Spielberg's only exclusively theatrical feature was the 1974 crime drama, The Sugarland Express. But while it performed well at the box office and earned him recognition from industry folks and critics, there was no real reason the director's name would mean much to audiences, something that would change just a few minutes after Jaws began.
The movie being such a phenomenon, which basically gave me what I had always dreamed about, was A, being a movie director, and B, having Final Cut, and Jaws gave me freedom.
As depicted in his 2023 quasi-autobiographical film The Fabelmans, Spielberg grew up mostly in Phoenix, Arizona, and had already developed an interest in making movies by the age of 12, particularly influenced by David Lean's 1962 film Lawrence of Arabia. Young Spielberg decided to pursue filmmaking, and by the age of 17, he had already written, directed, and produced his first independent feature, albeit one that only cost $600. When he was 19, Spielberg's parents divorced. Though his sisters stayed with his mother, Steven followed his father to Los Angeles so he could be closer to the movie business.
They tell me you want to be a picture maker.
Yes, sir, I do.
Why?
It was also around this time that Spielberg first saw 2001: A Space Odyssey, directed by his future friend and mentor, Stanley Kubrick. Spielberg has referred to seeing the film as a life-altering experience. Never before had a film made him feel such a rush of fear and burning desire to be a part of what he called the Great Mystery. After making a well-received 1968 short called Amblin, the namesake of his company Amblin Entertainment, Spielberg took several directing jobs for television, including helming the first regular episode of the now classic detective show Columbo and the 1971 television movie Duel. The latter was so well received it was given a theatrical release in some markets and today regarded as something of a cult classic. Its success earned Spielberg the chance to direct The Sugarland Express, which in turn earned him the chance to do Jaws. And from the first moments of its terrifying opening sequence, Jaws was absolutely electrifying. Now widely regarded as one of the greatest films of all time, it ushered in the era of blockbuster filmmaking and altered the landscape of cinema forever. Spielberg, of course, would come to be recognized as one of the greatest to ever work in the medium, and along the way, made his name nearly synonymous with the wonder of movies.
I'll be right here.
And the association makes sense because the experience of wonder itself is at the heart of so many of Spielberg's most famous films. Wonder is what Spielberg felt seeing 2001, the double-edged sword of excitement and fear we feel when confronted with the unknown. And both Spielberg's characters and his audiences are continually confronted with the unknown. This synchrony comes from a number of qualities in Spielberg's work, starting with his tendency to tell stories about ordinary people who are a lot like the folks in his audience. Jaws' Martin Brody is a blue-collar police chief struggling with a petty local bureaucracy. Roy Neary of Close Encounters is an electrical lineman who's grown bored and unhappy with his life. Even the swashbuckling Indiana Jones is really just a working stiff with a whip and a cool hat. This focus on ordinary people heightens the drama when extraordinary things start happening to them. But from a filmmaking perspective, it also means that what's wondrous to the characters in the movies will also likely be wondrous to the people watching the movie. And this goes especially for children, the concerns and point of view of whom Spielberg has always shown a particular interest in, as reflected in films like E.T., Empire of the Sun, Hook, and others. Many of these characters, like Spielberg himself, hail from broken homes or homes that are in the process of breaking. And though the director has been able to employ such themes to a variety of ends at a basic storytelling level, a character still processing the disintegration of their family life is a character who has no choice but to face the future. There's no home to go back to and be safe in when the extraordinary happens. And if there's one thing you can count on in a Spielberg film, it's that something extraordinary is going to happen. The sequence from Close Encounters that he selected as a master image that sums up his entire film career provides a perfect illustration of how he brings all of these elements together to that end. The characters in the scene are Jillian Guyler and her 3-year-old son Barry. Living on a farm in Muncie, Indiana, they're about as ordinary as people come. And Jillian is a single mom, so they're on their own. Earlier in the movie, a mysterious force or creature lured Barry out of the house, but Jillian was able to catch up to him and bring him back. Now, the intruder has returned. A strange, almost supernatural glow pours through the keyhole and things become eerily quiet. The extraordinary is literally knocking at the door. A terrified Jillian tries to protect her son by struggling and failing to chain the back door and keep whatever it is outside. But Barry, overcome with excitement and curiosity, reaches for the knob. Jillian sees Barry go for the door and knows it's too late to stop him. Through Jillian, the ordinary mother fighting to protect her son, the audience is made to feel afraid of the danger. But through Barry, the wide-eyed child, the audience is made to feel astonishment at the promise in all the seemingly magical things going on. And that combination, fear and astonishment at the same time, creates wonder. Barry! Barry! That's Spielberg's secret. And once you've identified those elements as the ingredients of his brand of wonder, you can easily spot how the director combines them in different ways and different proportions to create the most wondrous moments from his most revered films. For example, the shark in Jaws is a terrifying killing machine, but when Brody says,
"You're gonna need a bigger boat,"
we can't help but want to see this massive thing. First comes the fear, and then the astonishment. Or in Raiders of the Lost Ark when Bella calls one of the ghosts beautiful, right before it turns horrifying and starts melting his friends' faces. This time, the astonishment comes first, and the fear follows.
Don't look, Ray! Keep your eyes shut!
Both elements are also prominent in Roy Neary's first Close Encounter. Elliot's initial meetings with E.T., Alan Grant learning that Jurassic Park had bred a T-Rex, Steven Spielberg just gets why we go to see movies in the first place. Whether it's to see a daring archaeologist find the Holy Grail or a daring newspaper publisher find the truth regardless of the cost, Spielberg has always understood that people want to experience something outside the norm. He knows we want to feel the fear and astonishment in facing the unknown and the zen-like wonder created when both are ignited in us at the same time. We want to gleefully throw open that big door like little Barry and take a long, hard look at that beautiful and awful light so full of promise and danger. So, what do you think? Do you like Steven Spielberg movies? And if so, what do you think is the most wondrous moment he's ever created on film? Let us know down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely find others you like if you check out the rest of the channel. As always, thank you for subscribing to Nerdstalgic.